As Joe said, my name is Willie, and I'm a drug addict in recovery. You guys hear me? Good? Yeah? I start every time that I speak like that because this isn't what you think of in your head when you think of a drug addict. At least it wasn't what I thought. I played 3 sports growing up. Any 3-sport athletes in here? I have a few of them. So I always was doing something. I never had a night that I didn't have sports to go to. I played baseball, basketball, and football. So I always had a season, and in the summer I was playing, I played even more baseball. In high school, my junior year of high school, or sophomore year, I was playing in a basketball game. I dove for a loose ball, and I twisted my knee. I tore my meniscus. So with that injury, it required surgery to repair it. That weekend, I had a trip planned. I was going down to the Dominican Republic to play baseball. I was on a United States team. It was from people all around the U.S. and we were going down to play 5 days of baseball against the Dominican teams. They had 10 teams, so we played a doubleheader every single day against the teams, and then we had a championship game the last day. And I say that because when I went down there, I had a torn meniscus. I didn't want to miss the trip, so I went. Like Joe was talking about, the athletes that think we're invincible, we got to push through the pain. That's what I did. I said, I can't miss this trip. It's once in a lifetime kind of thing. So I went down there and I played, and I didn't have any prescription narcotics. I had Motrin, and I had some ice, and I had a little compression sleeve that I put on it, and I played. I played 5 days. I played every single game that we had down there. I played competitively. I did well, and then I came home and I had the surgery. There wasn't any pain that I had or anything that was wrong with me that I didn't want to take the narcotics for. I was prescribed Vicodin from that surgery. And after I had the Vicodin, it did something differently that the Motrin didn't do. It not only did it take away the pain, but it made me feel like I was invincible. And that feeling, I decided that I liked that feeling. And I didn't think anything was harmful with the medication. When my doctor prescribed it to me, I thought it was safe. How many of you guys here trust your doctors? Right? The majority of us trust our doctors. When he wrote me the prescription, I didn't see any of the precautions that go with it. I didn't think that this was something I could become chemically dependent upon. I didn't think that it was something I could become addicted to. So I thought it was a very low risk. I could take it. If it felt good and I was having some pain, I took a Vicodin. Like Dr. Joe said, a lot of us will keep it around in case you have a headache down the road, in case you bump your head or something happens. That's one of the ways that, especially when I was in my active addiction, that was one of the ways that I continued to fuel my addiction, was by going into households. Any party that I went to when I was in high school, I would check the medicine cabinets in, because I knew that the majority of households had prescription narcotics in there. So that was just another way that I would feed my addiction. In high school, I ended up I tore my meniscus 2 more times. I ended up having a heart surgery and a hernia surgery. So I had a lot of surgeries from the time I was in high school and in my first year of college. So I always had Vicodin around. Like I said, my perception of the risk of it was very low because it was prescribed by a doctor. So I continued to take it as prescribed, and it became a little bit more than prescribed, and a little bit more than prescribed, until I was getting a prescription from multiple doctors. I continued to get more prescriptions from different doctors, and not surprisingly, the doctors found out that I was getting those prescriptions, and they cut me off completely. And that was my first experience with withdrawals. So withdrawal, when you're chemically dependent on a substance and you cut it off completely, your body goes into withdrawal symptoms, and it's kind of like the flu. You guys have had the flu, right? Yeah? So it's like the flu, but it's amplified. You're so tired, but you can't sleep, and you're hungry, but you can't eat. And you're aching and you're freezing cold because you're pouring sweat, and it's just so uncomfortable. And I knew in the back of my mind that there was one thing that would get rid of that, and that was if I continued to take more pills. So I went from taking it for pain, for surgery, to taking it for any aches or pains that I had, to becoming chemically dependent on it. And now I'm at the point where I knew there was one way that I wouldn't feel this sick anymore. So I wasn't taking it because I liked the feeling or because I had any pain. I was simply taking it because I was chemically dependent and I needed it to feel okay. One of my dreams, one of my goals when I was in school was I wanted to play college ball. How many of you guys in here want to go on to play college sports in some way? We got a few people? Like, that was a dream of mine. And then I started taking the prescription drugs. And with that comes a lifestyle that's a little different than the lifestyle I was accustomed to, which was I would go to practice every single day. I'd strive to get better every single day. I'd hang out with the people that were doing well, that were continuing to improve themselves. When I started taking more pills, when I started partying a little bit more, when I started drinking a little bit more, all of those things kind of shifted, and I started to hang out with the people that like to do those things with me. And I stopped striving to get better at sports. I stopped trying to add a couple miles an hour onto my fastball or shave a couple tenths of a second off my 40 time. I stopped striving for those things and started striving for other things. And what happened is, I didn't realize it in the midst of it, but I had an opportunity to play football at Ferris State. I had a decent year, my senior year, playing football, and I walked on over there. And I was to the point that wasn't of interest to me anymore. So if Dr. Joe is talking about some of the signs that maybe your kid is different, you have that gut instinct, that was a dream of mine from the time I was 3 years old and I could pick up a baseball mitt, was to play college something. I just wanted to be an athlete. And that opportunity was right in front of me, and I was like, you know what, I'm all right. I'm gonna go to Eastern and just go to school there, and I'm gonna party. And my life was still somewhat manageable. But then it got to a point where it wasn't, and it happened very quickly. I ended up totaling my car. I had my face off the windshield and had 16 stitches above my eye. I ended up losing the job that I had to afford the drugs. And a lot of stuff kind of came crashing down. And I didn't realize that it was because I was continually taking these drugs. Like in the midst of it, I didn't see that. And I grew up not in a household that was any different than anybody in here. And none of this was ever on my 10-year plan or my 5-year plan. This was something that I thought would ever be able to happen to me. But it did, and I'm here today to share a little bit of my story, so hopefully you guys are aware that it is a possibility for you if you choose to do the things that I had done. Shortly after that, a few months later, I went into treatment. I went to cigarette, I went to rehab. I came out, I relapsed, I ended up moving into a sober living house, and I've been sober since then. But I can't stress this enough that once you're down that road, and once you are addicted to something, it's not like you can just go to rehab and get hosed off and come out and you're good. Like, there's things that I need to do on a daily basis, every single day, to maintain my sobriety. I just had shoulder surgery on Monday with not 1 ounce of a narcotic. Not one. Nothing before, nothing during, nothing after. It's possible. And I'm here today to share with you guys that there are alternatives. If I would have known when I was in school, when I had those surgeries, that there was alternatives to the Vicodin, I may have been able to make different decisions. I'm not going to say what ifs here, but I would have liked the opportunity to make those decisions. When I was prescribed those things, I didn't see the risk in them, so I continued to take them. I hope that something we've said here today can make you question next time that a narcotic is put in front of you, that it might not be the best decision. And that things like what I've been through can happen in your life. They don't discriminate. Addiction doesn't discriminate from anybody, and any gender, any race, any religion, any age. It can affect anybody, and it does.